I'm Malaiqa.
And I'm Rudaina. And today we're going to do our last episode of the Ramadan series. And it's going to be a Ramadan recap. Today we're joined by two very special guests. And they're like two of our closest friends that kind of made this Ramadan very special for us. So we have Amanah and Alisha. I think they can introduce themselves. Amanah?
My name is Amanah, and I'm here today.
Okay, I guess we'll introduce them too. Amanah and Alisha, they're both grade 11 students. Alisha was in our first episode of Muslimah Nook, and Amanah's never been featured yet. They're both grade 11 as well. We met through the masjid. We all met each other through the masjid.
Yeah, like last Ramadan.
Yeah. Well, I guess
not really.
No, you've also known Amanah for a really long time.
We've known each other for like a really long time, but we just got a lot closer, I guess, like last year.
Ramadan.
Last Ramadan.
I met Amanah last Ramadan.
No,
yeah.
Wait, didn't you guys know each other forever?
Friends.
Yeah, exactly. Like, didn't you guys know each other since like you were born or something? You know,
Right.
Forever.
Right. I guess that's just when we got like closer, you know. Anyways, so for our why are we talking about our Ramadan recap?
So the reason why we decided to do this episode today was because we like realized that after Ramadan, you know, we don't really have like that same I guess motivation, or like we don't have like that same like environment to really be high in our iman, I guess. Mm-hmm. And like we just thought like, oh, what works during Ramadan, and kind of like how can we implement those habits into like our daily lives so that we're not feeling like so distant from our deen outside of Ramadan. And how do we stay on our goals and stay focused during Ramadan, and just kind of talk about how all that correlates.
And I think like Ramadan was like a really special time, so it's important to I feel like after Ramadan we kind of forget about Ramadan a bit. I feel like it doesn't really like carry on. I think it's important to like recap and like reflect on how your Ramadan was and how to be like going forward.
It's like we're so in the moment, and then like once Ramadan is gone, it's just like the moment is done.
It's done, and then you get like so caught up into your like everyday stresses and like goals and stuff like that. You forget about like iman in a way. Okay. Yeah. I have a question for you guys. Have you guys been feeling a bit of like the post-Ramadan blues this year?
Yeah.
100%.
100%. It's like nowadays it's like I feel like I don't really want to do anything. Like I don't have like the motivation to even like try and do anything, because it's just like we were at like such like a dini high during Ramadan. It's kind of just like a crash, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like you don't feel like that motivation. You don't feel like that energy, that spiritual like that spiritual like contentness or like that peace. You just don't have that feeling anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that barakah, you know. It's like that 1 month barakah is like gone.
It's like gone.
Like I was talking to this with her the other day, and I was saying how like I think last Ramadan, me personally, talk from my experience, and I think talking from her experience too, like we kind of had this big jump in our iman and like our growth in Islam, but it was because it was like so sudden, and it was like a very like how do I say, like it was just like super.
It was like a big peak, right?
Yeah, it was like a peak. Yes, that's the word, the peak. It was a peak. And like there wasn't much stability to it. But alhamdulillah, this Ramadan, I still felt like the ups and downs through life. But because I was really attached to my deen and I was like really focused on my deen, alhamdulillah, my life seemed like more stable and it seemed more at peace. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like I could actually like implement my religion into my daily life. While like last Ramadan, it was like we were at an all-time high. Everything was like perfect. Everything was just like up here. And then when Ramadan was over, it was like in everything. Like all of our goals that we set for the goals that we wanted to practice, like they were on and off throughout the year. And it was just like not really like, you know, work. It wasn't balanced.
Yeah. But I felt like over like the last year after last Ramadan, 2022 Ramadan, we had like stable growth over the whole year. Like, so after like a little bit of a crash, there was like pretty stable growth. And then this Ramadan, we tried to like really crank it up with like the deen stuff. And I feel like along with that, there came a lot of like, I feel like pressure and guilt from ourselves. Like, did you guys feel that way? I felt like I was like really like trying to like pressure myself into like like doing the most during Ramadan, and I think that might have been like why it led to like a crash, because every moment like I wasn't like reading Quran or like doing like active ibadah, I was feeling like really guilty, right? Like I was like, what am I even doing with my life? And it wasn't like a positive productive guilt, it was like a bad guilt, like what am I doing, like why am I wasting so much time? I feel like that's an actual thing, though,
you know, like guilt during Ramadan, because like we don't feel like we can really do anything else, because like during this month we kind of like give ourselves like too much to do, like we kind of put like too much expectations on ourselves, because it's like, oh, you know, this is like one of the best months of the year, we have to use it to the best of our abilities, we have to use it to the best like that we can, and we set like goals for ourselves that we can't really like that's a little bit too much, because we're on like this high and excitement of Ramadan, right? And then like when Ramadan comes, we try to do them, but when we can't, we feel so bad on the inside. Like we feel like bad Muslims, even though like, you know, like Allah, like, you know, Allah knows our intentions best, but like we feel like we're not doing anything at all.
Exactly.
Right. When we're trying to the best of our abilities, you know, like we get caught up in school and everything, but like when we're not, like that 1 second that we're not reading Quran, or that we're not doing dhikr, or that we're not doing like extra nafil salah, like it just feels like you feel so bad inside.
And like I have like one specific example. Like me and Amanah, we set a goal for the last 10 days to read 3 juz a day. How is your progress on that?
That was a hard progress. I finished like maybe I reached like a quarter of my goal, which was not, it didn't feel good, you know, because it's just like, wow, like
it's like, wow, I didn't really do anything. And like I don't know, like for the first like I guess like 2 or 3 days I was able to like keep that up, because alhamdulillah like school was light and I had like more time. But when I was not meeting that goal, I felt unmotivated to read Quran at all, because I'm like, I know I can't read 3 juz today, I don't have time. So then I'm like why even read 1 page? Why even read like
literally exactly. And okay, you go.
No, it's like literally like I feel like the same way, because it's like if you're not doing something, it's like why should I even do it in the first place? You know, and I feel like that's not even a problem with this. It's like a general problem with like a lot of people who are like struggling to like come closer to the deen. They think that, oh, like if I'm not doing this in the first place, then like what's the point of even continuing it? You know, like even if I'm not reading, like even if I don't even like not even reading like a page of the Quran, like what's the point? Like how am I gonna even read like a quarter?
Exactly. You know? And like even like for me, like one thing is like praying my like sunnahs, like the 12 like sunnahs like every day, right? Like if I miss like one sunnah, like let's say I'm like busy in school and I don't have time to pray like how many is it, like 6 how many is it, like
for which
like 6
for
dhuhr?
Yeah,
for
6
and
right?
Then 2 after. Yes, so the 6 for dhuhr. If I don't have time to pray that, I'm like, why pray sunnah at all today? Like why pray it for maghrib? Why pray it for isha? I just feel so like unmotivated, and I feel like that's so unsustainable, because you're not getting into the habit of like practicing a goal just because you missed
and like
out.
you're always just putting yourself down at that point, when it's like you like we have to keep this mindset that like no matter like what, like we can always go back. Like even if we don't do this one thing, like we're still trying our best. We're still like we still have that intention to do it.
Exactly.
And like if we don't do it that one day, then we can just do it like, you know, for the next salah, inshallah. Because like Allah is always there for us, bro. Like,
and any ibadah is some ibadah, right? Like
you
don't have to have like the perfect amount, you don't have to meet those perfect goals.
Yeah, I know. Like I feel like for me too, like if I'm like the entire day went like so unproductively, I'm just like I just want to like give up for like everything, like, or if I even for like math or something like that, and I'm like, like I can't do this problem, like I just don't want to do anything at all. And then I literally like yesterday I couldn't figure something out, so then I just like took a nap. I was like, I'm done with this, like I'm not doing this anymore. Like you know, and I just feel really frustrated. But then like at least getting one question done, or even just doing like the easy questions, well, just like for math, like an example, or just like doing something that for in terms of ibadah, doing something that like is okay, like is manageable with your time,
even if it's like something small, just like you're working and you're like doing dhikr, you know, like at least like you're keeping your tongue like I know people don't like to use it, moist with dhikr, you know, like that's what they say, you know, at least you're keeping your tongue moist with dhikr, like you're keeping it with the remembrance of Allah, you know, like that's still a huge form of ibadah.
Exactly. People even say like just doing dhikr is like that's like one of the best things you could do.
Yeah, that's like planting your trees in Jannah. Like, yes, please, I want trees in Jannah. I want a beautiful garden.
There's a hadith that says like there's 2 words that are light on the tongue. كلمتان حبيبتان إلى الرحمن ثقيلتان على اللسان. خفيفتان على اللسان ثقيلتان على الميزان. 2 words that are light on the tongue. The 2 words beloved by Allah that are light on the tongue and heavy on the scale. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanallah al-azim. They're so it's such a short dhikr. But imagine like you're getting so much reward just for reading it.
Exactly. And that's so crazy. Like a lot of the rewards of dhikr is not really like talked about, like how much they weigh and stuff like that. Even though we know like when you're reading the Quran, like each letter is like worth like a certain amount and multiplied by a certain amount, right? But like when you're doing like dhikr, you don't really know that exact like value, which means that it's even more beloved to Allah, right? Like when you're in that state, it's so much ibadah. And like we know like the idea of like feeling guilty for not doing goals and then not wanting to do anything is so stupid, because like we know like there's like hadith that like you take one step towards Allah, he takes 10 steps towards you, you walk towards him, he runs towards you. So you just try a little bit and he will come to you, right? Like he will help you.
And I feel like during Ramadan I was like so productive, because I was like, okay, if I want to go to Tarawih, if I want to, get my work done, I have a test tomorrow, blah, 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 I need to study. And then I was like really like forcing myself to just really focus and just get each task done.
Because you're on a time crunch.
Exactly. Like you're under pressure. But like that pressure is not sustainable. Again, like you can't, there's only a certain amount of like pressure you can take. Like sometimes you're just going to break and you're not going to be able to do anything at all. And I feel like learning how to like balance out your life is what's going to keep that like stability. And like, so for example, now I'm just not like, because I was like under so much pressure during Ramadan, which was like honestly I liked it because I was like, I'm getting stuff done. But now because I have so much extra time, I guess I just don't feel like doing anything, and then I just end up giving up, and then I just feel so bad for not being productive. Like I have a list of things to do and I'm like, I did 2 things on that list, and it's just like it feels really bad.
Exactly. And I think like that's something like I've been struggling with trying to balance. It's like, how do I like keep this progress like stable? Like how do I like keep up on my ibadah? Of course, you don't have to like, I mean, I'm not saying like don't try as hard as during Ramadan, but Ramadan was supposed to be like a kind of like a peak for you, right? Like it was supposed to be like a big step up,
like an iman booster.
Like an iman booster. And you were supposed to like focus your time during Ramadan in ways that maybe you can't focus your time like outside of Ramadan, right? And I've been struggling with trying to find like the balance of like, how do I like tend to like my daily life, like stresses and like duties and stuff like that, but also manage like my iman and my ibadah and stuff like that.
And I think like something that's been helping me, I realized, because okay, I'm not gonna lie, like 2 days after Eid, I saw myself falling off. I was like, what am I doing? Like what? And then I was like, but then something that I feel like is helping me right now is like having like a nighttime routine where like it's my end of the day, how I want to end my day off and how I want to like sleep, where my soul goes back to Allah. You know what I mean? Like I want to end it off like nicely. So like I'll try reading the last 2 ayats of Surah Baqarah and like listening to Surah Mulk or reading Surah Mulk, and then always making dua. Like I feel like always making dua for the next day has been helping me so much, because it's like you get like that reassurance from like that, like you made dua for it. Like I always make dua like, oh Allah, put barakah on my time, and put barakah in my relationship with other people and stuff like that, blah blah blah, whatever, make me productive, make me work hard and stuff like that, so that you made intention for it and stuff, and you can like act on it. And I feel like it's actually been helping.
And like the rest is on Allah,
Yeah. It's like you asked for it, so now it's up to Allah whether he decides to like give it to you or not. And stuff
like what's best for you.
And it's it has been like really reassuring, because it's like somebody's got your back. You made out your plan. And I think like
setting your plan and setting your intentions on what you're gonna do the next day really clears out your mind. And for me, I don't know, like if I have like ADHD or something, but I need to like plan out my entire day. Otherwise I don't get anything done, because I'm like, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to work on this. And that way I get like actually stuff done.
That's like something I really need to work on, because like I'm not very good with like schedules or like routines. Right. And so like how like planning something out, because like when I plan something out, it's kind of like the thing where it's like, oh, I'm not going to do it. Like, what's the point of doing it anyways? When I plan something out, like I don't do like one thing on the list and I'm like, okay, what's the point of doing it? Like the schedule's ruined. Like there's no point of finishing this. You give up, So like that's something like I really need to work like towards, like especially like how to like incorporate like my deen in these routines, or like even like just like making a routine in general, but like structuring it in a way that I have time for my salah, I have time to read the Quran that day. I give myself reminders to do dhikr, just so I can keep up with like that momentum from like Ramadan, because like there's like a saying that like the 12 months of the Islamic year, like they're kind of like the 12 sons of like Yunus alayhi salam, right? Just like Ramadan was the most, like, or just like Yusuf alayhi salam was the most beloved to Yunus alayhi salam. Just like it's the same way that Ramadan is like the most beloved to Allah, so it's like Ramadan is like such a special time. And then if anything, like the rest of the 11 months, like we can use that as like practice for Ramadan, so like if I'm trying to incorporate this schedule, right, with like different like parts to like different like a different schedule to like help me like focus on my deen more. If anything, that just practice for Ramadan, inshallah. Like because like this Ramadan, I saw what I needed to work on, and then like from there, like I'll be able to set myself like goals and like plan and like a routine from there.
Yeah, I know. And like, but I feel like I don't know, like this is really bad, but I don't know. I've been feeling like now that Ramadan's over, I'm like now I can like relax. Which like
Yeah.
oh
No, actually,
astaghfirullah,
no, I
astaghfirullah.
understand.
No, literally, like even yesterday, I was like laying down, I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, why do I feel so tired all the time? Like, why do
Yeah.
I feel like not doing anything? You know,
Exactly.
like even if it's like the smallest thing, like I just won't have the energy.
It's
to get up
because
and
I
do
feel
it.
like it's partly because during Ramadan we forced ourselves to just like be like on a grind, like just keep going.
especially during the last
yeah,
10 days.
keep pushing ourselves and stuff like that. And like we didn't like recognize our like, you know, our well-being, which is like I feel like it's good to like grind and stuff, but like throughout the rest of the months, we just feel like okay, now is my break time. Now like oh, it's not multiplied by like 80 or something.
Yeah.
75
No,
or something.
because we did like push ourselves a lot more in Ramadan. Like there was like, you know, like for example for me, like there were days where I'd like sleep at like 2, right? You know, to get work done because like Tarawih, like I wouldn't be able to get work done in those hours, right? And then I'd stay up after suhoor time. So that's like what, like 3 hours of sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
2.5, give or take, right? So it just like even just like physically we were all exhausted.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
normal for us to feel like that, you know, oh like now I'm just like, you know,
Yeah. But
there's
I
only
feel
so much like you can go to without like crashing down.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
But I feel like we should go easier on ourselves, of course. Like this time try to get like 7 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep. But still, like now is not the time to relax. If you sleep enough during the nighttime and let's say you take like a bit of like a break, like a couple hours just to like relax. You don't need to relax for the entire day.
Yeah.
And you also don't need to like prioritize like other things over deen for the entire day.
Yeah.
Because like Jannah is the time to relax, right? Like this is supposed to be
Exactly.
like the time where we're working and not just working during Ramadan, like working year round, right?
Yeah.
Like this
There's
is,
like
I like, you know, like the practice for Ramadan.
yeah, exactly. And like for these like 80 years of our life compared to like forever and the hereafter, forever, which our mind has like no ability to grasp how
Yeah.
long forever is. But like this period is like really, really minuscule compared to that, right? So, like,
Exactly.
But and it's like there's like this thing where it's saying I don't know, like it's not a saying, it's factual, but it's like 1 hour of productive focused work is so much more than like say 4 days of
Yeah.
literally just like unproductive or like you know unfocused, unproductive work because it's like quality over like quantity, and you shouldn't feel bad. Like this is something I do. Like I feel bad if I don't like work for like multiple days on end because I'm such a procrastinator. So it feels like I do a lot of work, but it's actually the same amount of work if I just focus for like an hour straight. And that way, like you have more time to do other things. You have enough time in your day, you're just not using it properly.
exactly. And when you don't feel the pressure of the time crunch, then like the work you're doing is not productive if like every 2 seconds you're like checking your phone, going on another
Yeah.
tab, like you know, like switching stuff up. Like you're
We
not
have,
really
like so much freedom that we have so much freedom that we never focus on like what we need to do. I feel like
Exactly.
time management is something that we all really need to work on.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah. Anyways, so what were some of you guys' goals this Ramadan?
You wanna go?
Like Quran goals,
Yeah,
like Salah
you
goals,
know, I wanted to
dhikr.
like finish like at least 1 Quran. Well, actually, my goal was to read 2, but and that didn't work out entirely.
Mhm.
But like alhamdulillah, you know, like 1 Quran. And then there was just, you know, like praying sunnahs. And my biggest thing was doing dhikr because like even in school, you know, there's not much you can do in school, you know.
Mhm.
Sure, like you can like, you know, read Quran, like, but I mean, you're not while your math teacher's talking, nobody's reading their Quran, right?
Yeah.
So just like mine was just like if I just had like a moment where I was like conscious.
Conscious?
Then I would just, you know, I tried to do like dhikr, you know, I tried to just like read subhanallah 10 times, you know, alhamdulillah 10 times, because even that like it's multiplied by so much in Ramadan.
Exactly.
And yeah, it was just like, you know, Tarawih goals, like I just tried, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Mashallah. And how did you progress on those goals? Were you able to
Like
do
sustain them throughout the entire month or like
did you feel like maybe in the beginning you were at like a high and then you had like some mid Ramadan like fall off? and
Yeah,
stuff like that?
I feel like it wasn't mid. I feel like the beginning of Ramadan and like until like I'd say the first half was great, right? And then towards like the second half, I just got like exhausted. It wasn't that, you know, I was like falling off. It was just I was so exhausted that like I'd end up taking longer naps, and then you know that would just make me feel bad, and then like you know it's just like the whole cycle of like, oh, I didn't do enough today, you know, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I felt like talking about like schoolwork and stuff like that, like when I just prioritized my deen and I was like it's gonna sort itself out, it sorted itself out.
It
Like,
did. Alhamdulillah.
yeah, alhamdulillah. So it was like even if you prioritize your deen, it's not to say that you don't give any priority to dunya related stuff. Obviously you do, but like figure out which is more important to you. Like if my goal is to go to Tarawih every single night, I can like be like, oh, it's too bad that you didn't study for your test earlier. You didn't do that. That's your fault. But you're not missing Tarawih. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You have
So-
to like hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, hold yourself accountable. Exactly. So when you're like actually like focused and you're like when you tell yourself like, oh, you can't miss out on this, then you try to finish your other things so that you don't miss it out. And I feel like that's something we can do like on a regular basis. Be like, hey, like at the end of the day, try to read like 2 pages of Quran or something like that.
And not like try to read, like read.
Yeah,
Tarawih, you gotta be there like 9:30, 9:45. You have to be there because it's starting without you. And like I feel like we need to view our like Quran goals like that. Like you have to be there. You have to show up and sit down in your house at like 9:30 and like read for like an hour.
No one's gonna hold you accountable other than yourself.
Exactly. No one's gonna force you to sit and read unless you're like a Hifz kid or something like that, which none of us are anymore.
Really?
But yeah, like nobody's gonna hold you accountable, so you have to like keep that pressure on yourself. I feel like, and it's not unsustainable to read like an hour of Quran a day. Like that's not a big deal.
Even
but
if
like
you read like even like half a page. Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
It's
like
still
do something.
Yeah.
Like it's the intention and like the thing that you're actually doing it
Mhm.
rather than how much you get done. Because
Yeah.
like results, I mean, yes, obviously like results like matter, I guess, but like the progression is what matters the most. That's why like in Islam there is no perfection, right?
Mhm.
There's only progression and there's only like improving yourself.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's something we need to remind ourselves all year round. Like
Exactly. And Allah loves consistency. So even if you're reading like one ayah a day, that's better than like
reading no ayahs.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just try, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like one of my goals like during this Ramadan was trying to like read like a juz after each salah,
Mhm.
right? But like even that, like because of like school and because of like the time, it was like really difficult, you know, because like
Mhm.
after like Maghrib, like you're like getting ready to like you're cleaning up and you're getting ready to go to Tarawih, you know, or
Yeah.
after like Isha, it's like Tarawih is like done and like you're like really tired, you know, so like
Yeah.
just trying to like keep that up like was like really hard. But like even if I read like a juz or like 2 juz or like 3 juz a day, like it was still better than like trying to like fulfill that goal of like reading like 1 juz after each salah, because it's like it was still consistent and it's still like it meant more than it actually meant to me.
Like I remember like I think it was 2021, like it was like pretty much everything was like lockdown still at that time because COVID was getting really bad again. And so my goal was to read the entire Quran, and so like I would try to read literally like 5 pages after each salah. I think it was like 5 or 6 pages after each salah, right? So that I can get 1 juz done per day. And I literally, after like a little bit, I was like, oh, I forgot to read 6 pages after this a lot, and I was just like, I'm not gonna do it. Like I just gave up. I was like, this.
You're
is
like,
so
what's
much-
the point?
Yeah, what's the point exactly? And I was just like it just brought me down so much. And at the end, even if I read like 1 page, it's okay. There's no saying that you have to read the entire Quran. Like that's not like a thing in Islam, right? Like you don't have to finish the entire Quran within Ramadan. Like
Yeah.
you know?
Like this is because like Ramadan is the month of the Quran. You should try to read it, but there's no saying that you have to finish the entire Quran in that 1 month. You know, you have to finish like a certain amount of juz, like for that 1 month. It's just trying to focus on the Quran itself and like really what it's saying to you, like what it's trying to tell you, because the Quran is literally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to you.
Yeah.
There's a saying that like
Yeah.
when you're praying salah, it's you talking to Allah, but when you read the Quran, it's Allah talking to you.
Yeah.
Right, so the Quran is like, so Ramadan is mostly like just trying to like focus on like the lessons and the ethics and like the morals inside it, like written in the Quran, written in the Quran, like more so than just like just reading it the entire month, because what's
Yeah.
the point of reading it when like we don't even know what it's saying?
Exactly. And I think that's like a big problem that's a little bit unspoken about for like non-Arabic speakers. It's like astaghfirullah, but like sometimes it can be like unmotivating to read because you don't know like what God is like saying to you.
And like the Quran has so many like beautiful lessons inside of it, like literally like kind of going back to like the modesty episode, there's literally an ayah in the Quran talking about how women should cover themselves. There's literally an ayah talking about in the Quran how to do wudu. Bro, like even like the simplest things such as wudu it's still mentioned in the Quran. And it's like it's so beautiful, like these lessons that like we have no idea what they're saying. We have no idea we have no idea how to implement them because we have no idea what they're saying. But like when we do, and like how we can implement them into our lives, like it'll make our lives so much more meaningful and beautiful.
Yeah, and like I feel like the Quran like provides you with so much peace. Like I haven't read like many translations, but I saw like I heard somebody talking about like the surah ad-duha, right? And after hearing that, like every time I think about that surah, like my heart feels full. Like I feel like I feel so good. Yeah, I feel so good. I feel so warm. I feel so comforted. It's like your Lord has not forsaken you.
Exactly.
That feels so good. It feels so good to hear. So I feel like another like goal of ours should be like to read the translation more because it provides like so much. It makes your heart feel so warm, right?
Yeah, that was like my goal during Ramadan. Read the translation while like review the surahs that I already memorized and like read the translation with it because like I already know these surahs, so I can like read them in my salah. And also like I remember, so I took like this like I think last March break or something, Sister Shazia hosted like this lesson where like she went over Surah Nas, Surah Falaq, and Surah Ikhlas.
Yeah, like the last three, the three Quls and then Surah Fatiha.
Oh yeah, and Surah Fatiha, like the translation with it, and like after that, every time I read like my salah, like and I read those surahs, and especially Surah Fatiha, like I knew what each ayah was saying, and it just made me feel so connected. It made me feel like, oh wow, like
it made you feel content, like you actually know what you're saying. You're not just like like I don't want to like sound like harsh, like you're not just like blabbering, you know?
Exactly.
Like you actually know what you're saying and it has meaning to it.
Exactly, and you feel more like mindful in your salah.
Yeah, you're more focused.
I saw a video talking about like how to have more like khushu in your salah. I forgot what khushu means.
Like happiness, like peace.
Peace. How to have more like peace and like contentment with your salah, and how to also like focus more on your salah. And he was saying like one big thing is to like know exactly what you're saying. So like find out like when you plan to like read a surah in your salah, or if there's a surah you read frequently in your salah, like find out like the translation. When you say like Subhana Rabbiyal A'la and stuff like that, find out what that means, right? So then you can like you feel more like focused in your salah when you know like what are you saying to God, right?
I feel like having like khushu and khuzu and what you do is actually a really big problem. Like even with me, like I want to try to find enjoyment in what I'm doing. You know, I want to try to find enjoyment in reading Quran. I want to try to find enjoyment in reading Salah. Like, not feeling that it has to be fun, feeling at peace. Like, you know, like, not that just like I'm doing this because it's a routine, you know, like I'm taught to do this, but like I want to know, like, I want to feel happy when I'm doing this, you know, like I want to feel like that. I want to feel good when I'm doing it because I feel like that's a lot of like that's like the problem with keeping up your goals after Ramadan, you know, because like during Ramadan you're at this high and everyone else is doing it, so you know you're gonna do it too. But then after there's a sense of community. But then after Ramadan, it's like you don't know, like you don't go to the masjid that often, so you don't see people doing it as much, you know, right? And so then you don't know where to find this khushu and khuzu in reading Quran, in doing dhikr, in reading your salah. So I feel like that's a problem with a lot of people.
Yeah, and like do you remember like so we went to like this conference by Yaqeen Institute in downtown, and like one of the speakers there was saying how like a lot of the times when we're praying our salah, it's like an autopilot mode. And it's literally just like you're just like sometimes you're like zoned out completely, but your mouth is moving and your body is moving, but you're not even focused. You're not even in.
There's no khushu or khuzu.
Exactly. So then like I forgot what he said, but he was like just be like stop saying the same surahs over and over again. Yeah. Like stop like be aware of what you're saying. Like it's not just, it should not be like something that's just like, you know,
like autopilot.
It's like oh, it's gotta get done.
Exactly. It's not that's what he was saying. It's not supposed to be a task. And from the time like you're a kid, your parents are like, you have to pray salah at this time. You have to pray salah. You have to pray salah. But like they don't teach you like how to be like mindful.
Like, they don't teach you like the benefits or like the
why are you praying salah, right? Yeah. And then he was saying, that guy was saying how I think he was like a sheikh or an imam or something, not just like a guy. Yeah. He was just saying how my mind is blanking. He was saying something about how like you like when your body is like used to doing a task like over and over again, then your body goes on like autopilot when you're doing that task. And that's how like salah has become for a lot of us, because our mind is like trying to be like more productive, so it's not spending a lot of energy in like doing that task. It's just like
you know, it's like become like a chore for us.
Exactly.
Like, like I gotta like broom the kitchen, but I also gotta like pray the heart.
Yeah, I gotta make my bed. I gotta pray the heart. Like you don't think about it while you're doing it and stuff like that. And that's why you have to like don't make salah like part of like changing up the surahs you read and like changing up some of the du'as and stuff like that you read in your salah is like trying to not make your salah the same every single time because that's when your mind gets lazy.
Like one of my hibs teachers, like she was saying that like if there's like a surah you find hard, maybe practice that surah and read it during your salah, you know, so you're actually gonna be able to focus on it more, so you don't make mistakes.
Exactly.
Right? And then I was listening to like this one, it was online, it was a video, and she was saying that like when you're reading your salah, like imagine like when you're reading in your room by yourself, but you're not alone. There's angels like the size of like mountains reading with you, right? They're surrounding you, there's beside you, behind you, right? So like there's like that fear, like that there's like that focus and that fear that, you know, like I can't mess up because like I'm in front of angels right now, you know. Exactly. It's like you're leading that group of angels in your salah, like you don't want to mess up.
Right? And then that guy I was watching, he was saying like your salah is like a gift for Allah. Like obviously this is not enough for as much as he's given us. Like our salah is not as
it's not for Allah, it's for us.
Yeah, but he was saying it like in a way like if you're gonna give a gift to like somebody you love, like your mom or like somebody who means a lot to you, like maybe like a teacher or something like that, you would package the gift like nicely. You would make sure like there's no wrinkles, the like none of the nothing's like ripped, nothing's broken and stuff like that. And if your salah is imperfect, like if you would not give an imperfect gift to somebody who means a lot to you, why would you give an imperfect salah a gift for Allah? Like, it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah. And I think something like a big part is like knowing what each like I guess step of our salah, what it means. Because I remember like when I was like 5 years old, I was like watching like some Zeki episode, like you know Zeki, like that Australian bear or something. And they were like saying how like in sujood you can make dua to Allah and ask for anything you want, right? And ever since then, I was like making dua for like Lamborghinis and like stuff like that. I was like making dua for like everything. Like, and now like in my like every like you know during sunnahs and stuff like that, I always pray and like make dua or not. I guess it's like kind of like dua and like ask for things from Allah like in my sujood, and like it just brings you so much peace, and you know what you're saying, you know why you're doing it.
And I think that's another thing that makes like salah is not as much autopilot anymore, because you know when I get to sujood I gotta focus, I gotta know what I'm gonna say to Allah, like what am I gonna ask Allah for in this sujood.
And it's crazy because he's literally being like, ask me and I'll give it to you, like literally all you have to do is ask and he's literally giving it to you. And like that's why like people like say like no matter how like far away you are from your deen, whatever, never miss your salah. Like salah is like such a big importance in Islam. Like you need to always you know, pray your salah.
Like salah is not for Allah. Like the only like form of ibadah that we do for Allah is fasting, right? But everything else is for us. Everything else is like stepping stones for us, like for Jannah, you know, inshallah, right? And then on top of that, like when you're like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need anything. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is self-sufficient, right? But when you're praying when you're praying and stuff, like he's like ask me, come to me, like please. He's like begging us to ask him for forgiveness, for, you know, for barakah, for like anything in our lives, because subhanAllah, because he knows, he's all knowing, he is all seeing, right? He's all hearing. He knows us more than we know ourselves. He knows what we want and what we don't want. He knows what's better for us. He knows what's better for us, and he knows what to delay, you know. He knows what not to put into our lives. So when we're praying salah and we're asking Allah for these things, like imagine like we're asking for these things, but we don't even know like the specialty behind them, because Allah knows more than us, and he knows whether or not like if we really need this in our lives or not. No, he knows, like, and
he's the provider, like he will provide for you. Subhanallah. Oh, so great. Okay, so I was speaking on goals for Ramadan. My goal again like was to read Quran. I've completed the entire Quran like a couple of years, I think, but like this year and even last year, like I just like was not able to do it. Like for the first like I think like 7 days exactly, like I read 7 juz, like one juz a day, right? But then during like the middle of Ramadan, I was like, this month is like so long, I think I have time to like slack off a bit, astaghfirullah. But like I was like I have like tests to worry about and stuff like that. I don't have time to like read like 1 juz a day, and like I was like I need to sleep, like I'm feeling so tired during the day. And
no, but also I feel like in the past couple of years that you did like complete the Quran, like you weren't going to Tarawih.
That's right.
You weren't going to like, you weren't like doing like trying to do extra things. We also had like this podcast that we started during Ramadan, and this podcast, like there's time and energy that goes into it. There's other forms of ibadah, obviously. And obviously, and I'm not saying like reading Quran is like not less important. Obviously, it's really important, but it's like you have to like remind yourself like there's a lot of different ways you can do
Mhm.
ibadah, and you were spending time with doing ibadah like in other ways this year and the year before that.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, like the years before that, I was able to read the entire Quran. That was not when I was going to Taraweeh at all. Like I hadn't even heard of what is Taraweeh, right?
Yeah.
But like this year and last year, I've been going to Taraweeh, and that's why I haven't. I guess that is part of the reason why I haven't had as much time to like focus and like read the Quran like properly. And also like again, it was like that guilt. Like after I read like seven juz, mashallah. Like after that, like one day I miss. I'm like, what's the point of even doing it the next day? I'm not gonna finish the Quran, and then I'm like, okay, fine, I'll catch up this weekend. Then during the weekend, I don't catch up. I'm like, I just like feel so unmotivated.
You also like
right?
compare yourself to like what you did before. You know, like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like I read like a juz like last like on Tuesday. Like why can't I read it today?
Exactly.
You know? Or like I read and alhamdulillah, like you know, like I read that entire week. Like why can't I read it this week? You know, you compare yourself to what you did before, but then you know like
you forget
like,
to take into
yeah.
account the circumstances too. Like when I'm
Exactly, yeah.
comparing myself to like 2-3 years ago, both of those times were during COVID. Like I wasn't even having like as much school. I was in grade 9 and grade 10. Like I wasn't not even grade 10, grade 9 and grade 8, right? Like I wasn't having as much as much schoolwork, and I wasn't having to like go out as much. I wasn't having
there was like nothing else going on in your life, and
Yeah.
alhamdulillah, during those times Allah really gave us an opportunity
Yeah.
to really zone in and
yeah.
do those like.
And alhamdulillah, like I'm so grateful that Allah like gave me the strength to like be able to complete the Quran during those times, right? Like that's really good. That's really good, mashallah. And I don't know why I'm feeling guilty for not being able to do it when I've already like gotten that barakat before, right? And I did ibadah in different ways this year, and that's okay. Like
Yeah, and also I feel like something that nobody ever talks about is like like going through your menstruation cycle during
Yeah.
Ramadan, and literally nobody acknowledges the fact where you're literally like you feel kind of distant from everyone else. Everyone's fasting, everyone's praying, everyone's and you're like at the back of the room, and you're just like what how am I
Like
supposed
we
to feel
don't talk
connected
about
to
it because especially in like culturally it's like very taboo.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't want to mention it.
Yeah,
Especially
and then
in front of like
everyone's
our
like
brothers
no,
or our
but-
fathers, you know.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh no, but there's so many different ways you can do ibadah and blah blah blah. But you feel so
You don't-
distant
you
from
feel-
the community.
Yeah, like
yeah.
you just like you feel like Ramadan is over for you in those few days, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like there's so much wasted time, even though I know like if Allah knows my intention was pure to like pray Tarawih every single day, He will give me the reward for praying Tarawih every single day. But I'm like, I'm not getting that reward, and I'm not getting that peace from being able to pray Salah. Like praying Salah like would give me so much peace, just feels
Yeah.
like a break from the world.
Yeah.
And even though like during Salah time, people say like during your like period, during like Salah time, you should still like sit and like have a few moments of like remembrance of Allah, right? Like, and I guess like I didn't do that, and I didn't feel that peace because I was like,
Yeah.
I should use my time like more productively while I'm on my period, because I will be able to like do more because I don't have to like pray Salah. And then you feel more guilt, and like it just feels so bad, and you feel again so distant from the
Yeah.
community. Like all your friends are going and praying Tarawih, your family's going
And
to
you're
pray
just like in the
Tarawih.
back, it's like what do I do? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like,
Like,
in
you're
that
literally, it's like-
room
it's like
that's like a
Yeah.
disconnected
No,
from
but
the
literally,
entire
it's like
Muslim.
it's like this longing, you know, like you're just like standing, like looking at everyone standing in their front. It's like I want to be there so bad.
Yeah.
I want to do what they're doing.
I want to
feel
feel
like
that
even
peace.
That feeling is like from God, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like because it just like I guess it's like I don't say proof, but it's like it shows that we tried so hard.
Yeah,
the days
exactly.
before that, like it's become like it's like in our hearts.
No,
Yeah,
and it's
and you
actually a good thing because I guess like when I was younger, I'd be like, oh yay, now I like I don't have to fast anymore.
Me
like
too.
like
You know, it's like oh my god, like I have a little break now.
yeah,
Exactly. And I don't know like how like, but like since like last year, having like my period during like Ramadan and stuff like that, it
was
hasn't felt like a good
heartbreaking.
thing.
No,
It's heartbreaking.
No, it's heartbreaking.
No, you can ask. Like literally, when I got it during like the last 10 days. I was so upset. I cried.
Yeah.
I cried.
I was
Literally,
so
I went up
sad.
to my mom and I was like, literally, I was just standing there and I made the face and I started crying. And my mom was like, "Beta, like this is from Allah.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
Allah wanted this, like Allah wants, like what Allah wants is more than what we want. And
Exactly.
Allah knows, like, and like Allah is like doing this for a reason. It's not
Mhm.
just like He's like making sure that you don't pray during the last 10 days.
Yeah.
He's one of like my teachers. Like my mom was telling her like that I was like really mad, and she's like, Allah's giving you a break.
Exactly.
These last 10 days,
He knows it.
He knows you need the break.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
mashallah, like throughout this entire throughout Ramadan, girl, she was front row. She was praying all 20, mashallah.
Mashallah,
And like
mashallah.
she was there, like mashallah, like Allah knows your intentions. Allah
Yeah.
sees your
Yeah.
devotion
Yeah.
to Islam, and like He's helping you, like whatever.
Exactly.
thing you need to take.
And honestly, like I feel like during this time, like we were talking about dhikr before, but during this time, because we don't focus on dhikr as much, you can use that as a goal to focus on dhikr during these days.
Yeah.
You know, like because we're like so immersed in like salah and Quran that we forget like when we're just sitting there, we're doing nothing, we're not like doing anything, right? We can use that time to focus on dhikr. We can use it as like a goal. We can set it as a goal that during these days when I can't pray, I'm going to focus more on doing dhikr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important for us to be able to like continue the motivation during
Do
our
the
period
things
too.
like since Tarawih takes so much of our time, like let's do the things where we don't get enough time to do.
Mhm.
And like because we're praying or whatever. And so like and then like there's other people that's probably on their periods too, and like you can talk to them.
Yeah.
And I know like during one of those days, right? Like we were talking to like some of the youth in our community. Like, ew, well, why did I just say youth? Some of like the middle schoolers. Some of like the middle schoolers, like and they were coming up to us for like advice and stuff like that, and that was so nice because like spreading a good word is so good. That's like a sadaqatul jariyah, right? Like you're like if you help them and they pass that down and they like spread that around, like
even just use it.
Yeah, even just use it. Exactly. Like you get so much reward for that, and like it was really nice. Like it was like, oh, I got to help somebody out, right? Like not just somebody, it was like multiple people there, right? Like alhamdulillah. And I was kind of and I was like kind of like reflecting back on like when I was like last Ramadan when like I was one of those girls asking like your older cousin, for example, like for advice on stuff, and like like taking the time to talk about those things. And it was just really like it's really good and it's really refreshing. And it also like it's like, hey, it's okay, you're not alone. Like
we keep like reflecting on like last Ramadan. So like I want to ask you guys, like, how do you think you have improved or like you have like gotten worse in like areas since last Ramadan till now? Because I feel like Ramadan was almost like a new year for us Muslims.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it literally is. So like I want to ask you guys, like, do you think you improved in in certain areas like since last Ramadan, or like do you think like you still need to work on some areas like between then and like from now?
Like are we talking about just the Ramadans or like the whole year?
No, like sorry, like not like the whole entire year. Like since last Ramadan, right, to like the entire year, like now, like this Ramadan. Like how do you think like you improved, or like like were there any goals you were able to keep during that time from like last Ramadan? I know this is like kind of sudden, but
no. I think that's a really great question. So
wait,
did you want to say something?
Yeah, like I want to talk about how like modesty, like that was such a big goal for both of us. And like since last Ramadan, we've been really trying to wear more modest clothing to school and stuff like that. And like I feel like again, because we had such a peak during Ramadan, like last Ramadan, that like we were at such a high, and then once Ramadan like ended and like it was going well, and then like September happened, and like throughout like it just felt like we were falling off. Like once the like grade 11 started like
I just felt like Ramadan, it wasn't like a peak. I wouldn't say it was like a peak because I felt like I didn't crash that hard after last Ramadan, but like I felt like there was like steady growth, and then like like at like the midpoint between like last Ramadan and
last Ramadan ended like end of April. Oh no, May or April. It was like
beginning of May.
Beginning of May. And then after that it was like good. It was alhamdulillah, it was going well. And during like summer and blah blah blah, and we were like really connected to the masjid too during the summer because I was like in July July we were doing summer camp here, and then August I was trying to do summer hibs here. So I felt like it was a good like relationship with the masjid and stuff like that. But once the next year started,
September we were still like struggling. We're like we gotta keep our iman high. Like we gotta like maintain the modesty and stuff like that. Like it was difficult.
I feel like during the winter time, like that's my enemy. That's my off, bro. Like during the winter time, like I can't like. First of all, you feel like, oh my god, there's so much snow. Like why would I wear a long dress or whatever? Like you make up some excuse and you're just like, I can't. Like you just feel, and I feel so distant from it because so much time has happened since Ramadan, and there's not really many events like that's like supposed to like help your iman.
Well, I guess there was like RIS for me and like mass.
Oh yeah, mass. No, but guys, mass ikna or mass fitna. Like let's be real. Like mass ikna, like mashallah, good. Like I mean, they have like good lectures, but then like the bazaar and all this stuff. Yeah, exactly. Well, alhamdulillah, like I want to go see the lectures and stuff like that, but like, guys, like, there's like a little like. I mean, it was good, but it's not like a focused area where you can focus
Mhm.
on like learning your
Mhm,
ibadah and stuff like
mhm.
that.
Yeah, I think like events like the Yaqeen Institute event
Yeah,
was
that
like
was
so
really
much better
good. That
because like
It was just
Yeah.
focused primarily on the lectures. It's focused on like, you know,
learning Islam,
Yeah.
spreading knowledge, stuff like that. That's really good. And yeah, I felt like over like the span of the year, I felt like really like as my iman slowly started like fading away as I start
Mhm.
caring more about like what like my non-Muslim friends or like peers and stuff like that
School.
think, like caring more about school, my future, stressing about
I feel like
everything.
school is the biggest op for us, you know?
School is the biggest op. I feel like if I was staying home every day, like I would be able to just like focus more on like ibadah. If I didn't have to go and like see like, I guess this is why it's easier to go to like, I guess like an Islamic school in some ways. I know like some Islamic schools are like mass fitna too, but like it's like it might be easier.
No, I
because-
don't think so because it's like okay, just going into like school in general, I feel like, and seeing other people, for us it's like non-Muslims,
Mhm.
but even in the Islamic school it may be like Muslims who, you know,
not that practicing
Yeah,
and
I'll
stuff
tell
like
you,
that.
like because like in Islamic schools, like I'm actually speaking about
Yeah, she knows,
because
she
in
knows.
Islamic schools, you're like kind of like just like given everything, you know. It's like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna pray the her at this time,
Mhm.
you know, go make wudu before the her time, then you go pray the her. You have like Quran, like Quranic studies in school, you have like Islamic studies in school. It becomes something you have to do.
It
and
becomes
then,
again like
you
a
know,
task you just have
Exactly.
to check
So
off.
like that like in middle, like don't get me wrong, like I would still pray like all my salah and everything, but like it was just
it's not from your own.
yeah, it was just, you know, it's like because everybody's doing it,
Or because you're being told.
because like, you know, the teachers, yeah, it's like oh, it's salah time now, that's why I'm gonna go pray.
Mhm.
And then obviously going into like a Catholic school, nobody's telling you have to pray.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's on you telling you, oh, you know, it's the hard time, Amanah, or it's like, oh, like, you know, like during the day, nobody's telling me like, oh, you know, you have to read Quran now or anything
Mhm.
like that. It was just like I had to find that for myself, and then just doing it on your own, like telling yourself that, oh yeah, it's the hard time, I have to pray the her now,
Mhm.
or telling yourself it's like usr time, I can't miss usr. Like it just helps you like strengthen your relationship with your prayers.
Yeah.
And it becomes more personal, you know.
Yeah,
It becomes more
exactly.
thing you do for yourself.
I think like that's like a big thing too. Like if somebody's like forcing you to do it, you don't feel that connection, and you don't feel it's not as difficult for you to do, so you don't feel the reward of like
It
doing
becomes like
it.
a task, a routine.
Exactly. And you don't feel like you don't feel like, oh, I'm doing this for myself, right? Like, or I'm doing this for God. Like I'm just doing it because somebody's telling me to
It's
do
more
it.
just like, oh yeah, like mom, I prayed. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Or like, you know, like
Mhm.
exactly.
And also I feel like again like with being like around like Muslims who are not as practicing, I feel like sometimes it could be more hard than being around kafirs because it's like you know, you can't like use the excuse like, oh, I can't touch you because I'm like Muslim, and I can't like listen to music because I'm like Muslim, because they're Muslim too and they're doing that
Yeah,
stuff.
and
So
you
what do
don't
you
want to
say?
be like, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm better.
Yeah,
than you.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, you don't want them.
You want to make you don't want to like put yourself on like a stepping stone, like you don't want to like
Exactly.
you're higher than everyone else, you know.
Yeah, and like I guess like in some ways it's like that, and in other ways it's like, oh, I don't want to be judged because I'm not like a cool
Or
Muslim
I don't want to
who's like
seem
doing this stuff.
judgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And I think that's a big deal. Like with like even like having like family that's like not as practicing, you don't want to feel like isolated in the way that's like I'm better than you guys. You
No,
know?
like even like people at like school, like they ask, like they do certain things in front of me, and they feel like they think I'm so judgy that like, you know, like those they won't do certain
Yeah.
things in front of me, which I
Yeah.
feel like is good for them, you know, maybe they'll get into like the habit of not doing certain things. But like it just like I feel so aware of my actions too, because like if I seem a certain way, then I feel like they're gonna judge me, or if they do
Yeah.
something, then they're gonna think that
It's
I'm
like,
gonna
oh my
judge
god, a
them.
hijabi? That's crazy.
Bro,
I mean,
it's
you're a
not-
niqabi, but
You're
like,
a niqabi,
but like
like-
for me, it's like a hijabi.
Like
with-
no way.
Yeah, like that's crazy. You can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not even like anything like big or anything. It's just like, wow, I would have like, you know, whatever.
Or like people
Yeah.
like won't even come up like approach you because they think that you're gonna judge them, or that you think you're higher than everyone else. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And I think that's really difficult, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, but going back, like I wanted to like see like how you think you improved like from last Ramadan to like this Ramadan, like throughout the entire year, you know?
Yeah. For me, yeah, I was kind of like actually, I need to think. Like, I actually can't remember last month. Like, I remember it, but like, I can't remember what happened after last month. Like, I genuinely have no recollection.
Yeah.
But like, just you think like overall, like, do you think?
Oh
you were
no,
able to
overall
think-
for sure this year, I think it's just like my mindset has changed, and I
Yeah,
feel like my
alhamdulillah,
goals,
alhamdulillah.
alhamdulillah, have changed in terms of like, you know, last year was just like whatever, like I'm just doing whatever happens. It's just like, oh yeah, I have to go to school in the morning, and then I have to come home, and then I just, you know, it was just like I don't know, it felt like different, you know.
Yeah.
And now just like whatever I do, it's like for like reason, and it's like, oh, like now I don't know, like I'm going to school because I'm trying to get into this university. It's just like you have like that.
You
You have
have
like that.
everything.
You have
Yeah.
like that. And then I just feel like like as a person, like I've like bettered my iman a lot like in this last year.
Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. And it just I just have like that more.
No, I feel like that too because I feel
connection.
I feel like if you know, you don't have to know like what you're doing. Like for example, your future, you don't have to have your whole career figured out. But when you actually find purpose, and this is what I always ask a lot to help me with, because I like for like school I do like co-op, and I'm in a co-op placement that I'm not necessarily gonna go into in my future, and so I get really annoyed because I'm like, why am I spending my time here, right? But then I always ask a lot to like help me find baraka, help me find like understanding and peace and like good things within every task that I do, so that there's purpose in it, and there's like there will be blessings that come with it, right?
Bro, you should actually write a book on like what du'as to ask. I'm not even kidding. Like the du'as you make are so like they're so nice and they have so much meaning to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sometimes when she tells me like she's like making certain du'as, I'm like, okay, I gotta incorporate that into my list. No, I literally say it like word for word the same thing to God.
Yeah, because I'm such a big overthinker, I'm like, okay, make sure to like how
Your
can I make
du'as
the
are like
most,
overthought.
yeah, I mean, how can I make the most concise thing with like different layers?
Exactly. Like one of them is like for like good friendships, like this is the one that I literally stole from you. She's like those friendships that are good for you, please put barakat in them, bring me closer to them, make me better for them and them better for me. And like that was just like so powerful. I was like, wow,
and
this
then,
sounds
no,
like
and then
it's like those friendships that are bad for me, please like gently remove them from my life. And I was like, gently remove. Wow.
yeah, because I was like,
Crazy.
I'm not having like people just like coming
Beef,
in and out of
yeah.
my life, like that's too much.
Yeah,
for
or like
me.
any kind of drama, fights, or
Yeah.
anything like.
Literally, then it's like the ghost of dua, present, future, like what is it? Future, present, and past.
Yeah, exactly. Like
May Allah accept
gently
all your
remove.
du'as.
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah, but like I was just thinking about everything, because I was like, okay, which way would be like best? And even like I was like, even those friends that are bad for me make us better for each other. But if it doesn't work out, like if it's not meant to be, like fully, like please remove them gently from my life, because I don't like if I think about it, like I just don't want people coming in and out of my life. It's too much hassle. It's like, like I just want to be surrounded with good people, and the people who you surround yourself with, that's who you become.
Yeah.
And like you were saying something about like how like falling off in our deen was partly because we go to like a public school and we're like focused on like the validation of sometimes of our non-Muslim friends, or just non-Muslim peers, and
even like not validation, just like some kind of acceptance.
yeah, and
some kind of,
normal, like we just want to be like normal,
Yeah.
right? Like, and so like when we like choose to be normal with like like the society standard, it's like sacrifices some parts of our like deen and our beliefs, and those are like sometimes like during Ramadan we'll be like absolutely not, but then like throughout like the whole year we'll be like sure.
I feel like the term like normal though is really controversial, because what we're doing is still normal.
No,
Exactly.
it's normal. I'm
You
saying
know,
like
but, like,
society
I know,
standard.
like,
Like
I
we
know,
live,
like,
yeah,
this-
like when we
yeah.
live in Canada, it's like, oh,
I know.
there's
but,
like a different
like,
normal
society
here.
is like, yeah, I know, but the thing is like we should like that should not be like a different normal.
Yeah.
Like, what we do should be the norm for
Yeah.
everyone.
yeah, and
like,
we should not
have,
want to
like,
try to be like
That's
their normal.
yeah,
right?
that's like the
they're
mindset.
normal.
Yeah.
That's the mindset. Like I feel like kind of shifted for me this year too. Like because I was like.
yeah,
I was like, yo, like this is like I have one more year in high school and then I'm out, and I need to focus on what I'm trying to do in my life, inshallah. Like I have to focus on my goals. I have to focus on my relationship with Allah, just me and Allah. Because all these people around me, like when am I gonna see them? Like no, like I'm not. They're not gonna be in my life forever, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So going off of your point, and as we're trying to wrap up, I have one last question. What are your guys' goals going forward past Ramadan? And how do you plan to achieve those goals?
mine is just like small consistencies, like
Mhm.
like
Stability.
reading like a juz like every day in Ramadan, that was great. But like outside of Ramadan, it's like like I'll try, but it's just like it's not really realistic. So it's like instead of reading one juz, like read like maybe a quarter juz. If not a quarter juz, then at least read a page.
Yeah.
And just like keeping it like the same things that I was doing in Ramadan, but like
Scale it down a
in
bit.
more like consistent,
Yeah.
like smaller but like
Yeah.
consistent ways, like
setting goals that you actually be able to do.
exactly. Or like like sunnahs, for example, like how you're saying like you try to pray like 12 sunnahs, right? So like last Ramadan I'd made it like a goal to pray the 2 sunnahs after the
Mhm.
right? So now I'm gonna like try and make it a goal to pray like the fourth sunnah before the Dhuhr, you know, just
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
like slowly incorporate things in my life.
So they become a routine, like
Yeah.
not routine, but like they become habit.
Exactly. And then it's just like dhikr, like just
Yeah.
dhikr, you know,
Yeah.
because you have Allah's name constantly on your tongue.
Mhm.
That's your life will, you know, just open up for you so much more.
Yeah. And my goals are also very similar to that. And I think like another one of mine that I would add is like also doing like some sunnah fastings, you know, like Monday and Thursday, or like the
Yeah.
15, 16, 17, or it's like 13, 14, 15,
13, 14, 15.
13, 14, 15 of the Islamic month, right?
There's also
And I
the
think-
6 Shaban fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but that's like for this month.
That's just for
Yeah,
this month.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying like going
Year
forward,
round, yeah.
right? Like I think like that's really important. And like alhamdulillah, like the weather's not too hot anymore. I mean, not too hot yet, right? So like
Yeah, it's like in the transition.
yeah, so like still like it's not gonna be too difficult. Fasting, this Ramadan fasting was like the easiest part, right?
Okay,
Like
for you.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know why I was like getting so many headaches this Ramadan. Also, I did not get a single break.
Probably
I
because you didn't eat suhoor.
No,
literally-
Yo, I
literally
can't
every-
wait. Okay, listen. I can't like my stomach like just cannot like take.
No,
the
like
food
don't
in.
eat in the morning. Just eat like after you come back from Tarawih or something.
Yeah,
At least
but
it's
I'm
something
already
in your
so
stomach.
full. Like I'm
No,
so
but like
full.
even just eating a date and like water, you know that.
No,
right?
I just drink like
The
water.
suhoor has like blessing.
No, but like remember I'm like allergic to that.
oh yeah, that's fake allergy or whatever.
your made up allergy.
Yeah,
No,
it's not
I'm
gonna
for
kill you.
real.
It's not an
You're
allergy.
quirky allergy.
Okay, shush. But like,
Malaiqa has the right to call it fake allergy.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
we have like a million allergies. I feel like we're like making jokes and like.
And like real allergies, a million real allergies. that
Oh
will
yeah,
actually
be
kill
proud
me.
of it. Be proud of
That will
it.
actually kill me. Okay, I'm not like fake. I'm not
Oh my
fake.
God,
Like
I can't believe you.
I'm sorry.
Bro,
like,
Dates make my like mouth a little itchy and my stomach a little tingly.
Stop.
Okay, yo, whatever.
Okay, whatever. I drank water in the morning, but whatever. Like, yeah, I was just like getting like a lot of headaches. And I feel like because I was doing so many things, like I was like going from school, work, sleep, karate sometimes, and then like Tarawih. I was like doing so many things at once. But,
Yeah.
No, for real though.
Yeah, but like alhamdulillah, like the fasting part was pretty easy. Every now and then I'll feel like a bit hungry, but like thirst wise and stuff like that. Guys, I'm telling you guys,
Yeah.
Greek yogurt for sahur and coconut water. That
Okay.
was like the top tier combo that
That's
kept
like
me
a
going this
Malaysian.
Ramadan.
That's like a
No, but my
Malaysian.
thing was thirst. Like food was fine for me. Thirst was like crazy. Like I just didn't want to talk to people because I'm like, oh, I'm so thirsty.
Yeah, but like alhamdulillah, like for me it was fine, and I feel like that's why like I just want to like incorporate some kind of like sunnah fasting because like sunnah fasting is like there's a lot of barakah in it, right? Like
Yeah.
and like fasting keeps you like conscious of God for the entire day. I just want to have like a day where I'm like conscious of God.
No,
And-
that's true. Like it's like when I'm fasting, I just feel so much more like, you know, like
Mhm.
because I'm not thinking about like, oh, what am I gonna eat for lunch?
Exactly.
It's like you know, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
have so much
and it's like you're
time.
constantly in a state of like ibadah. Just the fact that you're in a fast, right? Like,
exactly.
and you're choosing not to like break the fast for Tiny Tom Donuts at Wonderland.
Okay. All right. So that was a nice. I feel like I was really happy that we were able to do this like a week after Ramadan because we experienced that like like that little drop after Ramadan,
Yeah.
so we can actually fully talk about it. Alhamdulillah. And I think so I think this is like the end of our Ramadan series. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. It was really nice,
It's really
talking.
nice. Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. And we
we-
may see you again next time.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
We'll
And-
see. And
Okay.
yeah, that's all.
Yeah.